I remember back in the day, people would just message each other and say, let's shoot.
Alright guys, welcome back to our channel, Breanna.
Awesome.
So today we're gonna basically just be discussing
How we find models.
Yeah, how we find models and how to build your portfolio, I guess, kind of, with those models. So when I first moved down here, I would, because I didn't know anybody, I just knew a couple of people, and I would go onto like my explore page in my Instagram and I would type like the location as Tampa or wherever I was. And then I would just scroll through like that explore page and find like, okay, this person's a model, they already model, or this person, they look like more of an influencer or someone that is like trying to be an Instagram model or whatever it is. And then, so that's just kind of how I would network and meet people down here at first. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you basically went online and you searched for people in your area, you scrolled through, and then you kind of found them randomly, and then you reached out to them.
Yeah, I would either reach out to them or I would just follow them and then just like their posts when they would post, and then
So kind of like build a relationship.
Yeah.
So that way they probably follow you back, and then you guys both, or whoever, get to know each other and build a relationship from there. That's really
pretty
cool.
much.
So I mean, I built a list because it's pretty much the same thing across the board. It's pretty straightforward. The first thing that I usually recommend is to ask friends.
Yeah,
Like we
well,
all
that too.
know someone that we would definitely like to have in our portfolios. I mean, providing that we know somewhat of what we're doing, so we're not wasting anyone's time. And the second thing is exactly what she said. Get online. And there's so many different ways you can go about it. She'll explain one in a second. Back in the day, we had sites like One Model Place and Model Mayhem, and they kind of got saturated with just about anyone that called themselves a photographer, a stylist, or a model. So, the integrity kind of went down. But Breanna's going to explain one that she uses that seems to work, and she finds quality people there. The next thing is, of course, social media and in person. And have you ever had any experiences that you've met someone out and
Oh yeah, all the time. Just kind of my personality, I'm very outgoing. And for some reason people loved coming up to me and starting random conversations, so people trust me. So if I'm out at a bar or wherever and I see someone, sometimes even just walking on the street or walking through the apartment complex, and I see someone and I'm like, oh, hi, I just want to have you ever modeled? Do you model? If they're like, no, I don't, or yeah, I do. And I'm like, oh, okay, I am just new here, or I live around here and I'm a photographer. This is my Instagram. If you ever want to shoot with me, let me follow you on Instagram, and then they'll follow me on Instagram. I don't ask for their number just because it's
yeah,
I just met you. So I'd be like, let me follow you on Instagram, and then I met a
Or if
girl
they have a
once
private
in a
page,
bathroom.
oh god.
She was hammered. And we were at brunch and I met her in the bathroom and I was like, oh my gosh, you're gorgeous. What do you do? Or do you go to school? Why are you, do you live here? And she was like, yeah, no, I live here. And I was like, okay, I'm a photographer. Showed her my page and then followed her on Instagram. I don't think she remembers though. I never reached out to her.
You didn't actually work with her?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't just
okay,
because
so
I just never reached out.
she was drunk when she agreed to.
Yeah.
So that's maybe one of these days you'll actually work with her, and then you'll have that story to tell. So yeah, so definitely you can meet people in person, you tell them exactly what you do, and then Instagram is a really good way of networking without being invasive.
Yeah.
As Breanna said, you don't need to exchange phone numbers. It seems like you have other intentions that way. So hey, what's your Instagram? Here's my Instagram. If you want to follow me or whatever, follow me, and we can go on from there. Another good way is through friends of friends.
Yeah.
So you're scrolling through your Instagram and you see a friend of yours in a photo with another person and you'd really like to have them in your portfolio.
Yeah.
Then it's not uncommon to call that friend up and say, hey, can you talk to this person, or can you connect me with this person?
Yeah, not at all.
The good thing about doing something like that is that friend automatically becomes a reference.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, it cuts through one layer.
Yeah.
And you can establish trust with the person that you want to work with a lot faster than trying to do it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, that's how my roommate, I met a couple of people down here. I've shot with people down here just from, like, asking her, like, she knows a lot of people. Like, she worked with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would even just ask her, like, hey, like, do you know anybody that, like, I could shoot with? And then she would be like, oh, maybe this person or this person, and then I'd reach out to them. Well, I would go through their Instagram and see if, like, their style is something that, or their look would fit my look, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I'd reach out to them, usually through Instagram, or I would text them if they gave me their number. I would be like, hey, like, I got your number from my roommate. Or she would reach out to them. Either or. It's different because I'm a girl. I feel
It's not really that different, but it's all depends on your intention. I mean, if you're a creepy woman, then nobody would respond to you.
I guess. I was like, hey, so like.
So that leads us into our next section, which is outreach. And here are a few key points in outreach. When you're actually reaching out to someone, let's say you found someone online, you went through a site somewhere, a profile, or an app somewhere, not Tinder, and found someone.
I don't want to talk about the app.
Yeah, talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about the app first. So there's this app, and it's by, I think it's like H Collective is pretty much like what the whole creative platform is. Mm-hmm. And then they created this app, it's called the Hub. It's like H Hub or something on the App Store. It's very simple. I mean, you have to apply to be on it, whether you're a model or a photographer, a makeup artist, a stylist, or a videographer. I think those are...
And super important for everybody to know. How do you feel about their vetting process, and how do you feel about the quality of people on that?
I have not come across anybody that I've looked at and I was like, they shouldn't be on here.
Okay.
Like everybody,
Super
all of the
important.
models they have a portfolio already. Mm-hmm. Like whether it be just like a couple, like 2-3 photos, whatever, or they're just gorgeous people that like, they're very photogenic and they don't have like the most professional portfolio, but they have really nice photos of themselves. And then photographers, all the photographers are really good. Like I haven't come across someone where I'm like, ooh, like this is taken with a phone. Mm-hmm. Or like this is just work that like they don't know what they're doing. So do you think the sites
vetting these photographers through their websites to see what kind of work they produce and
to see whether because you have to put like your Instagram, you have to put your website. I'm pretty sure you have to have an Instagram to be on there.
Okay, so that makes sense. So they can actually
go look,
and see what
and
you're doing.
If you have stuff, and you have to submit photos too to put like on your portfolio, like because it shows you like maybe like 9.
Yeah, so they're probably correcting some of the mistakes that some of the previous sites made. And I'm curious because I've never tried it, but I'm curious to actually get on it and see how it works out. So that should be my next
you should get on it.
venture.
There's a lot of people on there actually, and it's really like wherever you go, and they also find you jobs. Mm-hmm. So if you are looking for work, like companies will post like if they need like a
photographer,
a product photographer.
Oh wow,
a photographer. Oh Jesus! So in my first glass of wine today.
Right, not even like 2 sips. Great.
But anyway, so it's pretty great. I like that one. We'll put like a little video of me scrolling through the app so you guys can kind of look at it and see what's like.
We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored.
Just so
but-
everyone knows.
Yeah, you can look it
I
up.
don't even use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good app. I don't know. Okay.
All right, let's
So
get
back
to
to outreach. Yeah.
So a few key points in outreach. I remember back in the day, people would just message each other and say, "Let's shoot." It may have worked for some people or may not. You know, things have definitely changed. And over the years of doing outreach, I've kind of come up with a few key points. Number one, I mean, you reach out to someone. Obviously, you want to reach out to from somewhere like a social media account or with reference back to a website or something, somewhere that people could actually see your work and they can see references and people who communicate with you. And the first thing you want to establish is the intent for reaching out to them. What kind of shoot you want to do, your ideas. I know Breanna sends out photos of, or like mood boards, but she'd pretty much send out a photo and say, hey, you know, I would really love to do something like this. Another key thing in doing that is you have to make sure that what you're sending people fits in with the type of work you're producing.
Yeah.
And you want to don't be that person that sends someone a concept that you can't deliver on. It's a little bit misleading and it just wastes everyone's time.
Yeah.
The next thing that you really need to establish is the usage of these photos. So if you're going to be doing it for personal use or portfolio use, you want to establish that, and also you want to establish if you're doing it for commercial use, and then you can discuss compensation, or which goes into the next thing, which is establishing the benefit. Like, do you want to talk about the first point, establishing intent?
Oh yeah.
Just the way you do it.
Okay, so the way that I do it is, so when I usually, if I'm reaching out to them and I'm like, hey, like, I love your look, I'm new to the area, or like I live in Tampa or wherever they are, like, would you want to shoot sometime? And they're like, oh yeah, like, of course, because usually, or I'm like, they'll go through my stuff and they're like, yeah, like, I love your work, like, I want to shoot with you, and I'm like, okay, awesome, like, these are kind of like some of the ideas that I have, like, just this vibe, and like, here's some outfits that, like, I think if you can get something close to that, like, what do you think about that? And then they'll be like, they're usually always just like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, okay, cool. But then I also make them send me pictures of their outfits. It doesn't have to be on them. I don't usually say, like, send it on you. I'm just like, they like will lay it out and they're like, does this work? Just because I want to see it beforehand, because the outfit that they show up in is really gonna affect the image. Exactly.
I mean, and notice the distinction. So I mean, even asking for outfits on them is fine, because
Sometimes
you can actually see how it fits.
Sometimes I'll even go through their Instagram, and like, if I see them wearing something in a photo that, like, I like and that would be perfect for it, I'll send them a screenshot and be like, do you still have this, or do you have something similar to this? They're like, yeah, I still have that. I'm like, okay, awesome, just bring that, that'll work.
And so I think that's important. You definitely need to see what they're bringing to the shoot, unless you have a stylist that's styling it. The more you know prior to the session would help you out a lot in putting together the concept in your head. I won't even go in too deep into the whole, photographers asking models to send them nudes so that they can see what kind of bodies they have. Like, I feel we're past that now in this day and age. And
if you're one of those photographers in your hair, log off.
I mean, you can keep watching, hopefully. See, she's extreme, I'm not. I'm like, hopefully we can educate you so you don't get blacklisted or get yourself in trouble. She's just like, okay, just log off. We're not talking to you.
It's gross. It's creepy. Okay.
So we go into establish benefit. Make sure that none of this stuff is for free. A trade is not a free shoot, which means, and I say that, which I'm going to repeat myself again, to say that if you're doing a trade shoot with someone, they're going to either want images back for their own personal use, and if your concept falls in line with what they want to put out there of themselves, then they would consider that a fair trade.
Yeah.
Or
somebody's always getting something from it. That's why
Right.
it's not free. It's basically
they're
they're getting something, you're getting something, whether it be content for your portfolio, their portfolio, just for their page.
or payment.
Yeah, or payment, obviously.
Right.
But if you're just trading instead of and not doing it for payment, I mean, it's always beneficial.
If you're trading for attention, you're trading for photos back.
Yeah,
you're
whether
trading
it's,
for
yeah, no matter what
whatever.
it is.
You're trading for prints, like back in the day. And
Yeah.
do that. Another very important thing, and we're gonna go really fast because we're trying to keep this video short and impactful, which
We talk forever, so
Correct.
that's pretty much impossible. So model release.
But agreements, just
Agreements
on a
in
whole.
general. But
A very important one to have is a model release, which
Yeah.
she recently figured out.
yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Model releases, first of all, model releases not only protect the photographer, but they can also protect the model.
Yeah.
And they are absolutely necessary if you're going to be publishing the work with that person's likeness, because the last thing you want is to publish a photo and the model 3-4 years down the road says, hey, can you just like pull this thing back off the internet? Like, and then you're like, wait, wow, this has been on the internet for like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, it's gone. So you definitely want to have clear agreements. Now, model releases don't always have to be these standard documents that only protect the photographer. Model releases, this is something that is important to note, that releases, any type of contract is negotiable, which means you can put clause in a model release form, or you can write in agreements and both of you sign to it that protect the model as well from malicious use. One that I like to do to protect my models is to let them know that no one, me nor anyone that works for me, is that correct, grammar?
Yeah.
She's a grammar
Neither
Nazi.
me nor
Would ever edit or display these
neither.
photos in a way to appear defamatory or illegal. So that's something that I put in my releases, and other things as well that protect the model, especially if we're doing things with a lot of nudity and stuff like that. Sometimes we don't want certain things exposed in the photos, and I would put that in the release as well, that these things won't be exposed in the final images. I mean, they might be captured on camera in the moment, but they won't be exposed and published by me nor anyone that works for me. That's it about releases. If you need a release, there's tons and tons of blanket releases online. Make sure you read through them properly, and this isn't legal advice, obviously, so you probably want to consult an attorney and have them go over your release forms and make sure that they are legal or binding in the state that you live in.
Yeah. And if you're new to this and you watched our last video and you learned the importance of having a mentor and they have one, then they can help you.
This is true.
Yeah. But make sure they're like legit.
Yeah, make sure they're legit. Don't just have a model sign their life away.
Yeah.
Also, important step for models. or anyone in front of the camera. I mean, I'm just calling everyone a model now. If you're gonna be in front of the camera, you're gonna want to see a copy of that photographer's release form, so that you don't just take a bunch of photos and then have a blanket release thrown at you at the end of the shoot. Because that's a very uncomfortable situation to be in, and literally, like, if you read a release, it is basically you signing, you know, sometimes your ability to even review these images away.
Yeah.
So definitely want to see those. And
yeah, so and then photographers send it to your model before.
Yeah, beforehand. If they don't ask for it, you may not have to, but make sure you do have a conversation so no one walks in there and get blindsided.
Yeah. Okay. And then usage agreements.
Mm-hmm.
You know about that too?
You have some stories about that. So it's very, very important to have usage agreements.
Yeah. Or else models will take your photos and throw an Instagram filter or jack up the saturation on the photos and post them on their Instagram and tag you in it, and then people see it and your name is on it and it just looks like shit.
Pretty much.
And so people see it, and then that's the image that they get of you and your work. Mm-hmm. So if I obviously have never used a usage agreement. I mean, when I've done like weddings and stuff, I had like just a blanket one that I got like a template from, and I like tweaked it a little bit. But like any of my other photo shoots that I've done, I've never had a usage agreement. So I've had that happen to me a couple of times, and I just asked them to take it down.
Don't you find that a bit like energy draining, like running behind everyone on Instagram, making sure they're posting your stuff properly? And
and
how does it feel when they post something and
it's
all messed up?
disrespectful.
It's to you.
It's disrespectful. Because it's like, first off, you're working with me because you like the image that I put out. So if you don't like the edit that I'm putting on it, I mean, then don't work with me.
And then a lot of the times too, you have to remember, and not you because you know this, for everyone that's listening, remember this. Calibrations. Yeah. Super important. A lot of photographers, especially photographers that print their work, they know the importance of screen calibration. So they would have very good calibrations and they would edit on calibrated monitors. Yeah. However, when you send your work out, not everybody's seeing the same image you are, which makes it a little bit difficult, because if someone, let's say, looks at the image from a laptop and it looks blue, and they're like, wow, you know, this image is really cool, my skin tones are horrible, you know, and they bump the saturation up. First of all, you sent them a JPEG. That JPEG was just degraded a little bit. And then as soon as you post it on Instagram, then it's degraded even some more, and then all of a sudden your work
because then they run it through all these apps and they edit it and blah blah blah.
And it looks really bad. So this is why usage agreements are very important. Yeah. And
it just makes you look better at the end of the day if somebody's not altering your images.
True.
I mean, yeah.
Also makes you look consistent.
Yeah, it does make you look consistent.
Which is key.
Yeah. So
if you're hiring, you definitely need contracts, and you need to send them these contracts ahead of time. They know exactly what the compensation is going to be, what they need to bring. Like, they know just about every aspect of what's going to happen on set, and that way there's no surprises, and it's a smooth session. Yeah. So the last thing, unless you had something to add.
No, I don't.
Last thing we're going to talk about is the experience that you give.
Yes. The most important part of the entire thing is the experience, because if they have a great experience with you, they're going to want to work with you again.
Facts.
And especially if you get someone that you really like working with, and they're going, like, their look is going to produce all of the, like, the images and that you want.
Especially
then
if
they'll wanna work with
they're,
you again.
especially if they're very, they have a really high work ethic, and
Yeah.
they are in there and they're learning and they're grinding and they're growing. You know,
Yeah.
as they grow, they're gonna grow a fan base, and as their fan
Exactly.
base grows, they're gonna continue working with you because you're growing as well. You're growing a fan base, and all of a sudden you're doing a lot of cross networking. And at the same time, every time you learn a new skill, guess what? You have a new model or 2 models or 3 models.
Yeah.
You know, if you give the right experience and you build the right network, you have people to actually work with through the growing
Like
process.
I've had actually recently, I did someone's graduation photos for college, and she reached out to me because of somebody that I worked with in the past.
So you had a reference.
Yeah, so it was a girl that I literally reached out through Instagram on here because I was scrolling through Instagram and I found her and I was like, would you like to shoot with me, blah, blah, blah. And then I shot with her a couple of times actually. And then I get like this random, like months later, like I haven't even worked with that girl for like months. And I get like a DM or an email. She actually emailed me, I think. And she
Wow.
was like, like blah 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 so and so like said that she's worked with you before, and it wasn't even like graduation or anything. She was like, so she directed me to your page because I asked her if she knew photographers, and then she pointed me to you. So
So
yeah.
that leads to the next point. The people you work with and the models you work with can turn into potential clients.
Yeah.
And they can also, you can also get clients through them through referral. Either they refer someone to you because of the experience they had, and they're like, hey, you know, this person is definitely worth every single penny they charge. You need to work with that person. Guess what? You're gonna get a client. Or if someone sees your photo in their social media, if you use the usage agreement and they didn't completely beep your work up, then you'll get that you get that person reaching out to that person and say, wow, you know, who took this photo? Or you're already tagged in it, so now here's some social proofing because you've worked with that person, they know that person, and they're gonna go right past and click on your tag,
Exactly.
shoot you a message, shoot you an email, shoot you whatever, and all of a sudden you start getting clients. That's an important point.
I mean, and like I understand that sometimes it's like your personality, like you have to have like you have to be personable.
Right, you can't be like me.
You're personable.
No personality at all. You have to be like her.
You have to be like me.
Get her as a mentor.
Maybe. But yeah, so I mean, it's very important to have like great energy from the beginning. I am very like reaching like my reply time. That's what I want to say. Like I want my reply time to always be super quick because I want that, well, not like super quick, like as soon as I get it, I message them back, like, but like within like the hour.
Yeah, keep
Depending
that energy
if it's like a DM or a text, it's like within the hour. If it's an email, it's like at least by the end of the day. Just because that lets them know that they can rely on you.
True.
And they can trust you because you're reaching back to them like quickly, like you're answering their questions. Because like I work with a lot of people that have never done this before, so just answering all of their questions. Sometimes I guess we can talk about this. I'll just talk about it real quick. So like if I'm like working with somebody that has never shot before, one thing I tell them to do, like they're like, I'm really nervous, like I've never posed in front of a camera before. And I usually tell them to watch videos of photographers, like very like well-known photographers shooting with other models. And I send them to like this one girl because That's
okay,
who
so
I
that
used
means
to watch.
you have a particular
Yeah, I have
person.
somebody that's gonna fit your style
Correct,
and like
yeah.
kind of you work like them. And it's like, watch what this model's doing, watch
That's
what this
important. Not
photographer's
just
doing.
not just send them out there to look at any and every
Yeah,
professional.
no. Like pick somebody that
photographer.
you, and that's like one of the ways that I learned, which I'll talk about that like in another video, just by watching people. But I would send them that, and it makes them feel more comfortable because then they like are like, okay, so this is kind of how it's gonna go. Like even though that's not you, which like eventually I would like to make like behind the scenes videos and things like that. But it's like, okay, so this is kind of like how it's gonna be. Like I know what to do because they're watching the model pose and like what she's doing, even though it's usually a professional model, so it's like they can't do exactly all of that. But they can kind of get a feel for it. Is that good?
I like your approach. No, I like your approach. I think it works, especially for your style as well. I think it really works. For my style, I don't do that at all. I mean,
it would kind of be, it's kind of hard to find.
And the reason is
different.
because I take a lot of my shoots in a lot of different directions.
Yeah. Your photos are more intimate, so that's more of like, you can't really find like a video of someone doing what you're doing.
You
because
can't find it, and then at the same time, everyone's different.
Yeah.
So whereas everyone has a different experience, and I like to base my concepts on people's unique experiences in life, and our concept's gonna come from a conversation even before the session, and also just the vibe that we have on the session. We obviously know what we're gonna be doing, everything's set up and stuff like that, and then body positioning and stuff like that. I mean, yes, it's very important to me. I've been doing this for so long that I know what I want and what I prefer not to have. So, but it's so natural that I'm not really gonna focus on it. It's just, I'm just gonna allow it to come natural. I'm more focused on the energy that we have in that room at the time. And I want no one to have a predisposed idea of what the shoot's actually going to be like, or something in their head, or else, you know, they could be disappointed, or they could come thinking this, or they could come thinking this is the right thing to do. And for my style,
I mean, if you've been like watching the videos on our channel, you'll see in the first video that we kind of show what like the type of work that you do. So it's more, that's a little different than the type of work that I've done.
Yeah, hopefully I'll rub off on her.
You are a little bit.
But I definitely do like what she said about what she does. I think it takes away like some of the nervousness from people knowing what a general photo shoot is like and what to expect, and give them something to look forward to. So creating that experience like even before the shoot is super important.
You want them to feel comfortable.
She does it really well.
You want them to feel comfortable. I mean, the most amazing feeling at the end of the day is when it's like after the photo shoot and they reach out to you again, like they text you or whatever it is, email you, and they're like, that was so much fun, like I loved working with you, I can't wait to see the photos, like I definitely want to work with you again in the future or shoot with you again, whatever it may be. It's like, that's like the best feeling, because it's like, okay, so that means like I did what I was supposed to do. And just your energy as well during, I mean, I guess people shoot differently. I'm all into it. I'm like,
it's not uncommon for, if you had a really, really good session, a really powerful session, it's not uncommon for that session to be life-changing to someone. So never underestimate the power of a photo shoot. That photo shoot can change someone's life.
And even if they don't reach out to you, I mean, like if you're thinking like that never happens to me or whatever, maybe there's just not the type of person to reach out, but when they get the photos back, their reaction will.
That's why I like to
tell.
schedule meetings with my clients or with the people I'm working with, and we go through the images together, because the most rewarding part for me is the reaction to the result. And so when they see the final results or they see the images, they see the set of images, they're, you know, usually the response I get, believe it or not, people are in tears. And that's, I guess, like the biggest reward for me. I mean, I'm sure there's a bigger reward, but
yeah. I mean, I've had people in the past, usually people that like I've shot with before, that will message me and they'll just be like, I've just been feeling down, like, and I kind of just like want to feel pretty or whatever. Like, would you want to just like do some photos? I love that because it's like,
at least they're honest and they know exactly
Yeah.
why they're doing it. If you really pay attention, most people, especially boudoir clients, you're gonna find that most of them really do it for that reason.
yeah.
So it definitely helps. I mean, you're part psychologist. You know, pin that on your chest.
I'll write that in on my diploma.
Right?
Just like scribble it.
Pencil it
I feel like it's psychologist.
in. Psychologist. Oh boy.
I feel like bachelor's degree in marketing and psychology.
In psychology. It is a psychology to
Yeah.
marketing. So I mean, and then creating an experience, and then they go out and they tell more people. That's marketing, right? I think we have to wrap it up though. Cheers.
You don't want to drink your own. Okay. All right. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or want us to expand on anything else that we talked about, you can message us or message me on Instagram. Message
Yeah,
me on
slide in her
Outlook.
DMs.
Slide in my DMs.
Or you can actually leave a comment and we'll respond to it.
We'll respond to it, yeah. But give us a like, thumbs up.
And
Subscribe.
comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And see you in the next one.